My beloved child, you woke up today carrying a strange weight in your chest, and you could not explain why, because the mind forgot what the soul refused to erase, and somewhere between midnight and morning, something shifted forever, something real happened, something that does not disappear just because your eyes opened and the sun pretended everything was normal. You still do not know what happened last night, not because it was small or meaningless, but because it was too heavy to arrive all at once, and your heart needed time to breathe before it could face the truth. There was a moment, quiet and unseen, when a decision was made without your voice, when words were spoken without your presence, and when a path was chosen that directly touched your future. This was not noise, chaos, or drama. This was silence doing its work. This was destiny rearranging itself while you slept. You may think nothing changed because you were not awake to witness it, but that is exactly why it matters so much. The most powerful events never ask for permission, never knock, and never announce themselves. They arrive when defenses are down, when expectations are low, and when you are most human. Something was revealed, something was hidden, and something was sealed last night. And the reason your heart feels restless right now is because it knows the truth is closer than your mind is ready to admit. There is a reason you keep replaying fragments of yesterday, searching for clues in ordinary moments, questioning conversations that once felt harmless, because your intuition sensed a shift before logic could catch up. Someone thought about you last night with intensity that could not be ignored. Someone faced a realization they were trying to delay for a long time. It was not dramatic on the outside. No loud confrontation. No obvious scene. Just a pause, a breath, a stare into darkness where honesty could no longer be avoided. And in that pause, something undeniable surfaced. They saw the consequences of their actions clearly for the first time. They felt the absence of your presence more loudly than your voice ever sounded. They understood what they risked losing, not in theory, but in reality. That understanding did not come gently. It arrived like a quiet collapse inside their chest. They realized they crossed a line they cannot uncross, and now the truth stands between them and you like a closed door waiting to be opened. This is why the energy feels different today. This is why even silence feels loud. Because once something is realized, it cannot be unseen, and last night created a realization that cannot be undone. You may wonder why no one has told you yet, why everything appears normal on the surface, why messages sound ordinary and faces look familiar, but that is because the truth is still being processed by the one who carries it. They are measuring words. They are calculating timing. They are trying to decide how much you deserve to know and how much they can still control. What happened last night did not give them peace. It gave them fear. Fear of exposure. Fear of loss. Fear of your reaction. They are aware now that you are stronger than they assumed, more perceptive than they expected, and far less dependent than they hoped. That realization shook them. Because control only works when the other person doubts themselves, and last night showed them that you no longer do. Something you said before. Something you did not say. Something about the way you walked away from a conversation. It stayed with them. It echoed. And in the quiet hours, when there was no distraction left, that echo turned into clarity. They know now that if you find out everything, things will never return to how they were. And that knowledge has made them careful, nervous, and unusually silent. Do not mistake this silence for calm. This is not peace. This is tension disguised as normalcy. This is someone holding their breath, hoping you do not ask the one question they are afraid to answer. Last night forced them to confront the version of themselves they avoid during the day. The version that knows what was done cannot be justified forever. The version that understands accountability is approaching. Something was confirmed last night that they hoped would remain uncertain. Something about loyalty. Something about truth. Something about you. They realized you are not as unaware as they assumed. They noticed patterns shifting. They noticed you pulling your energy back. They noticed your silence has meaning. And that scared them more than confrontation ever could. Because silence means you are observing. Silence means you are thinking. Silence means you are preparing. And they know once you see the full picture, you will not beg, you will not chase, and you will not settle. That realization changed the way they see you permanently. And it changed the way they see their own choices. This is why today feels like standing at the edge of something unknown. Because you are. The truth is not running toward you loudly. It is approaching quietly, carefully, step by step. Last night was the beginning, not the end. A door was opened in someone's mind that cannot be closed again. A truth was acknowledged internally even if it has not been spoken aloud. And once a truth exists, it finds a way to surface. You do not need to search for it desperately. You do not need to force answers. What happened last night set a chain in motion, and that chain leads directly to clarity. You will know. Not because someone wants to confess, but because reality has a way of revealing itself when the time is right. Stay present. Stay aware. Stay grounded. Because what you still do not know is preparing to step into the light. And when it does, you will finally understand why last night changed everything. My beloved child, what unfolded after midnight did not end when the lights went out, because some events continue long after the moment passes, stretching themselves into thoughts, decisions, and quiet realizations that refuse to fade. While you slept, time did not rest. Conversations were replayed in someone's mind with sharper clarity than before. Words that once felt harmless now carried weight. Choices that once seemed temporary suddenly felt permanent. There was a point last night when someone realized they could no longer pretend everything was under control. The illusion cracked, not loudly, but deeply. They understood that the version of reality they were maintaining required your unawareness to survive, and the moment you began to shift, that reality started collapsing. This is why the air feels heavier today. Because awareness has consequences. Because once truth is internally accepted, denial becomes exhausting. They know something now that they cannot unknow. They know the balance has changed. They know you are no longer standing where they last left you. And they are beginning to understand that whatever happened last night set a countdown in motion, one they cannot pause or reverse. There was a silent moment, unseen and unshared, when they asked themselves a question they avoided for a long time. Not about you, but about themselves. They questioned their intentions. They questioned their honesty. They questioned how far they were willing to go to protect what they created. That moment did not bring comfort. It brought discomfort, the kind that forces growth or exposure. They realized that continuing on the same path would eventually lead to a confrontation they are not prepared for. They felt the weight of consequences pressing closer. This was not guilt alone. This was recognition. Recognition that you are not confused. Recognition that you are not dependent. Recognition that you are evolving beyond the version of you they thought they understood. And that recognition changed their strategy. Because last night showed them that time is no longer on their side. Every delay increases risk. Every silence adds pressure. Every normal conversation feels like borrowed time. They are now aware that you sense more than you say, and that awareness has made them uneasy. Something else happened last night that you have not been told yet. A realization about power. Not dominance. Not control. But inner strength. They finally understood that the power dynamic they relied on no longer exists. You are no longer seeking validation. You are no longer waiting for clarity from outside yourself. And that shift terrified them. Because people only fear losing control when they know it mattered in the first place. They replayed moments when you chose calm instead of reaction. Moments when you chose silence instead of explanation. Moments when you walked away without needing closure. Those moments spoke louder than words. Last night connected those moments into a clear pattern. You are not breaking. You are stabilizing. You are not confused. You are awakening. And that awakening threatens the narrative they built. Because once you fully see the truth, you will not ask for answers. You will simply move differently. They know this now. And knowing it has unsettled them deeply. Pay attention to the subtle shifts today. The hesitation before a reply. The change in tone. The unnecessary reassurance. These are not accidents. These are signs of someone recalculating their position. Last night forced them to consider outcomes they hoped to avoid. Outcomes where you choose yourself. Outcomes where you no longer accept partial truths. Outcomes where their influence over you disappears completely. That fear has sharpened their awareness. They are watching you more closely now, not because they want to understand you, but because they want to anticipate you. They are trying to read your energy, to guess what you know, to sense how close you are to clarity. And yet, the irony is this. The more they watch, the more obvious their own tension becomes. The more they try to maintain normalcy, the more the cracks show. Because authenticity cannot be faked forever, and last night reminded them of that reality. What you need to understand is this. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing anything meant for you. The truth is approaching at a pace designed to protect your strength, not overwhelm it. Last night was preparation, not punishment. It set the stage for honesty, whether delivered willingly or revealed through circumstance. Trust the unease you feel. It is not anxiety. It is alignment. It is your inner awareness synchronizing with reality. You do not need to rush toward answers. Let them come. Let the pressure build where it belongs. Because what was realized last night cannot remain hidden forever. And when it finally surfaces, you will not feel shocked. You will feel confirmed. My beloved child, the most dangerous illusion is believing that truth can be delayed without consequence, because what happened last night did not pause, it only went underground, gathering weight, shaping outcomes, and quietly choosing sides. Someone woke up today with a plan they did not have before. Not a plan to heal. Not a plan to be honest. But a plan to manage perception. They believe if they control the timing, they can control the impact. If they soften the edges, they can escape accountability. This belief was born last night, in the same moment they realized the situation had slipped beyond comfort. They are now carefully selecting words, rehearsing explanations, and preparing responses to questions you have not asked yet. This is not confidence. This is defense. And defense only appears when someone knows they are standing on unstable ground. What they fail to understand is that truth does not need force to be powerful. It only needs space. And space is exactly what you are giving it by staying still, by not reacting, by not chasing clarity before it is ready to arrive. There is something important you must recognize right now. You are not emotionally distant. You are emotionally clear. That difference is everything. Last night exposed this clarity to someone who underestimated you for far too long. They thought silence meant confusion. They thought patience meant dependence. They thought your kindness meant permission. But clarity changes how people see you. It strips away assumptions. It removes leverage. It makes manipulation impossible. They saw this last night in the way your absence felt heavier than your presence ever did. They understood that you no longer need explanations to feel secure. You no longer need reassurance to feel grounded. And that realization forced them to confront the reality that whatever hold they believed they had is gone. You are standing in your own energy now. And that energy does not ask. It decides. That is what unsettled them most. Not the fear of losing you, but the certainty that you will be fine without them. Something else shifted last night that has not been spoken aloud. The narrative changed. The story they told themselves to justify their actions no longer made sense. Excuses lost their strength. Rationalizations collapsed under their own weight. They realized that even if they could explain everything, it would not change how it made you feel. And that is the part they cannot control. They are beginning to understand that intention does not erase impact. That apologies do not restore trust. That explanations do not guarantee forgiveness. This understanding is heavy, because it removes escape routes. It forces responsibility. And responsibility requires courage they are not sure they have. That uncertainty is why they are quieter now. That uncertainty is why they are watching more than speaking. Because last night made it clear that once the truth is fully known, the outcome will no longer be theirs to shape. Do not underestimate the power of what you are doing by simply remaining present and aware. You are allowing the truth to rise on its own. You are letting pressure build naturally. You are refusing to interrupt a process that must complete itself. Last night created momentum. And momentum does not need pushing. It only needs direction. The direction is already set. Toward exposure. Toward clarity. Toward a moment where silence will no longer be enough. You will notice signs before words arrive. Small inconsistencies. Subtle defensiveness. Emotional overcompensation. These are not random. They are symptoms of internal conflict. They are signs that the truth is pressing against the surface, looking for release. And when it comes, it will not arrive as chaos. It will arrive as confirmation of what you already sensed. Remember this above all else. You are not waiting for something to happen to you. You are standing in the middle of something happening for you. Last night was not about loss. It was about alignment. It was about removing illusions that no longer serve your growth. Whatever is revealed next will not weaken you. It will strengthen your position. It will clarify your path. And it will prove that your intuition was never wrong. Stay steady. Stay grounded. Because the truth that began moving last night is getting closer now. My beloved child, as the hours pass, the weight of last night continues to press on the one who carries its truth, because unresolved reality does not fade, it tightens, and the more it is resisted, the louder it becomes. Something you have not noticed yet is happening behind the scenes. Their confidence is slipping. Not dramatically. Subtly. In the pauses between sentences. In the hesitation before decisions. In the sudden need to explain things that never required explanation before. Last night did not just create awareness. It created urgency. They understand now that the window to control the narrative is closing. Every hour that passes without confession increases the risk of exposure through circumstance rather than choice. And this is where fear intensifies. Because control feels safest when truth is managed, but last night showed them that truth is already ahead of them, moving faster than their ability to contain it. They are replaying scenarios in their mind, imagining how you might react once everything is known, and none of those scenarios end the way they want. They see strength in you now where they once saw flexibility. They see boundaries where they once saw patience. And that shift changes everything. Last night made it clear that you are no longer someone who can be guided away from clarity. You are no longer someone who needs convincing. You are someone who observes, integrates, and then acts with certainty. This realization stripped away their sense of safety. Because influence only exists where doubt lives. And doubt no longer lives in you. That is why they feel exposed even before being confronted. That is why their energy feels unsettled. Because they know the ground beneath them is no longer stable. There is also something important happening within you, even if you have not consciously named it yet. A calm certainty is forming. Not excitement. Not anger. Certainty. The kind that arrives when your inner awareness aligns with reality. Last night strengthened that alignment. It sharpened your perception. You may notice you are less reactive today. Less invested in explanations. Less interested in chasing reassurance. That is not detachment. That is empowerment. You are unconsciously preparing for truth, not by bracing yourself, but by grounding yourself. And this preparation matters. Because when the truth arrives, it will not knock you off balance. It will simply confirm what you already felt. That is why the timing is unfolding this way. Not to create suspense for you, but to ensure you receive clarity from a place of strength rather than shock. What they do not realize yet is that every attempt to delay honesty only deepens the impact of its arrival. Last night began a process that cannot be negotiated with. The longer they wait, the clearer your position becomes. The more you stabilize, the less influence their explanations will carry. They are sensing this shift. They feel you pulling your energy inward. They feel your attention redirecting. And they know once your focus moves fully back to yourself, their role in your emotional world diminishes permanently. This is what they fear most. Not confrontation. Not anger. But irrelevance. Because relevance requires emotional access, and last night showed them that access is closing. Let this understanding settle within you. You are not being tested. You are being positioned. Positioned for clarity. Positioned for self-respect. Positioned for a future that does not rely on partial truths. Whatever comes next will not be chaotic. It will be precise. It will land exactly where it needs to. And when it does, you will not feel confusion. You will feel relief. Because last night did not begin a problem. It began the end of one. My beloved child, the quiet tension you feel now is not uncertainty, it is resolution forming beneath the surface, because when truth prepares to emerge, everything unnecessary begins to fall away. Last night marked the point where delay stopped being a strategy and became a liability. They know it. You sense it. The atmosphere has changed. What once felt ambiguous now feels inevitable. Their inner dialogue has shifted from avoidance to damage control, from comfort to calculation. They are no longer asking how to maintain the illusion. They are asking how to survive the moment it breaks. This shift did not happen slowly. It happened in a single realization when they understood you are no longer attached to outcomes that do not honor you. That understanding altered their posture, their tone, and their energy. And energy never lies. You may not hear the truth yet, but you can feel its pressure increasing, demanding release. They are beginning to notice something unsettling about you. You are not waiting. You are not anxious. You are not reaching out for reassurance. That absence of urgency confuses them. Because people who depend on others for clarity behave differently. They question. They seek validation. They push for answers. You are doing none of that. And that silence speaks volumes. It tells them you already know more than they assumed. It tells them you are prepared for outcomes they hoped you would fear. Last night confirmed something they did not want to accept. Your strength does not come from what they provide. It comes from who you have become. And once that truth settled in, their leverage disappeared. They are now aware that whatever they reveal will not define you. It will expose them. Inside you, a line has been crossed quietly and permanently. Not a line of anger, but of clarity. You are no longer willing to carry confusion that does not belong to you. You are no longer willing to explain your worth to anyone who benefits from misunderstanding it. This shift is subtle but absolute. Last night anchored it. That is why you feel composed instead of restless. That is why your thoughts are steady. You are not bracing for impact. You are standing ready for truth. And readiness changes how truth arrives. It no longer comes to shatter. It comes to settle. It comes to restore balance. It comes to confirm what your intuition has been whispering all along. What happens next will not be dramatic in the way stories usually describe. It will be direct. It will be undeniable. It will carry a finality that leaves no room for confusion. The truth will present itself through words, actions, or circumstances, but it will be complete. No fragments. No half explanations. No blurred lines. Last night ensured that. It aligned timing with awareness. And once that alignment occurs, events move with precision. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to prepare defenses. Everything you need is already within you. Your calm is proof. Your clarity is evidence. Your grounded presence is the signal that you are ready to receive what is real. Remember this moment. Not because of what you lost, but because of what you gained. You gained self-trust. You gained stability. You gained the ability to stand without needing answers immediately. That is power. And power reshapes outcomes. Whatever is revealed next will meet you where you are, not where you used to be. Last night made sure of that. And when the truth finally steps forward, you will recognize it instantly. Not as something new, but as something you have been ready for all along. My beloved child, there comes a moment when the truth stops waiting for permission, and last night set that moment in motion with quiet precision. What you are sensing now is not anticipation. It is alignment completing itself. The distance between what was hidden and what will be revealed is shrinking, not because someone suddenly became brave, but because reality no longer supports concealment. Pressure has a way of organizing events. It rearranges timing. It exposes weak points. It forces movement. And the pressure created last night is doing exactly that. You may notice sudden shifts. Unexpected conversations. Circumstances lining up in ways that feel too exact to be coincidence. That is not randomness. That is consequence. When truth reaches this stage, it no longer asks how. It only decides when. And the when is approaching faster than anyone planned. They are now standing in a space where every option costs something. Speak now and face your strength. Wait longer and risk losing relevance in your life entirely. This realization is heavy, because it leaves no comfortable exit. Last night stripped away fantasy and replaced it with reality. They are aware that whatever comes next will redefine the dynamic permanently. There is no returning to uncertainty. No retreating into ambiguity. No rebuilding on partial honesty. They feel this. That is why their energy feels unsettled. That is why even normal interactions feel strained. They are carrying the weight of knowing that the version of themselves they presented cannot survive full exposure. And they understand that you, standing in clarity, will not negotiate your boundaries once the truth is known.